What gets me up in the morning. It's not something that if we were just selling widgets or something else, it just wouldn't be the same.
We all have those moments where we need a little encouragement to get through our day. Someone to remind us that we are not alone. Find peace. Embrace joy. Seek God daily. Welcome to Jesus Calling Stories of Faith. Today, we're talking with Ray Hendrickson, the president of Christian Book Distributors, otherwise known as CBD, a company dedicated to bringing Christian products to the world. Ray Hendrickson and his brother started the company from their parents' garage when Ray was still in high school. Now celebrating their 40th year in business, CBD has been voted by the Boston Globe as one of the best places to work multiple times. Ray and several members of the CBD staff share how their lives have been impacted by the work that they do and why they are passionate about connecting customers with products to grow their faith and get through tough times, including books like our very own Jesus Calling.
My name's Ray Hendrickson, the president and CEO of Christian Book Distributors. Christian Book Distributors, or CBD, has had a long run here. We're actually here in our 40th year at this point in time. Our company had a very unique history in that we started out of my parents' house. My dad was a pastor of a small church here in New England, just north of Boston, maybe about 100 people. And we really started with this very small bookstore, probably about 8 feet by 10 feet, more of like a closet that was in the church. And that kind of was maybe our beginning starts of selling Christian products. But then as I was a sophomore in high school and my brother was a sophomore in college out in Missouri, I came up with the idea to start a catalog business. And my parents were just so supportive of the whole thing. And I think perhaps the best way that I can describe that is that when the final 6 months, final year perhaps before moving out of their house, we literally took over every room of the house except their bedroom. And they were fully fine with it, fully supportive of it. And you wouldn't find, back in those days, we used to have these warehouse sales, and my dad would always come to them, and he would kind of be one of the expert product advisors and stuff, and you'd never see someone as proud as he was of what the boys were able to do and pull together, which was really a neat thing. And so we started with a small catalog that mailed 10,000 copies, and that was the very beginnings of CBD. And we were fortunate in that for my brother and my sophomore, junior, and senior years, we basically, we were living in dorm rooms in our parents' homes, and so we didn't really have virtually any overhead, so we were able to learn the business and a little bit of trial and error. And the last 6 months of being in, before graduating, we were doing about 100 orders a day. And at that point in time, we kind of thought maybe we have something at this point. And it was a little bit of trick doing that out of mom and dad's house, living on a dead-end road. But it worked. And when we both graduated, myself from high school, my brother from college, we shortly thereafter moved out of mom and dad's house into a real facility and have kind of gone on from there. I think one of the things from our company beginnings, we really just looked at, really was primarily servicing our customer and giving great products at great pricing, and that's what's driven us since day one. We do have a broad spectrum of folks that work here that have varying beliefs and all, but You know, our company name is Christian Book Distributors, so we tend to attract people that that are interested in what we do, and a lot of the folks, especially that stay long term, you know, the fact that they're able to be involved in something that has an actual ministry aspect to their work is really key.
My name is Laura. I am a mother of 22-year-old twins now, and a boy and a girl. I'm 51 and been divorced about 6 years. Struggled hard, and you know, Jesus has just been the center of my life and my anchor for that whole thing, because if it wasn't for him and my mom teaching me about a relationship with Jesus, I don't think I'd be here right now. I came to work at CBD about 6 years ago, and I was going to church with the woman who works here, and she referred me, and it was just such a nice concept to work at a Christian company where you wouldn't get scoffed at for talking about Jesus all day. One of the best things is talking about God all day and God-related products, you know, and praying with people, but never have I been at a company where the owners of the company are walking down the hallway and they're also Christian, and they're, you know, God bless you and hi, how are you? They're walking around in shorts, they're not stuffy. Everybody's just so pleasant here, and everybody just gels together really well. It's you don't feel like a number. I've had too many jobs where I felt like okay, next, number 6, you know, and here you're really part, and it really resonates true, the one boat, one team together.
My name is Francine Thompson, and I retired when I was 62 from a full-time job, and I stayed home for a year and didn't like it. So I came here 18 years ago, been here since. I really love people. I try to, when I'm talking to them, I'll use their first name lots of times. In the beginning, when I first started here, they didn't like that. But every once in a while, and they kind of like that. Some of them are really friendly, and just get friendly with them and have a little conversation.
My name's Elizabeth Evans, and I have been here at CBD for 20 years. I work in our partner services area. What I've learned in my time here at CBD and in customer service specifically, just working with the customers, it's not face-to-face, but it still is a chance to really get to know who is purchasing our product, and you get to know really neat stories. They'll tell you things that you wouldn't be able to know that if it's just an order coming through on a website or something. But I guess I got to know that there's a lot of different people in a lot of different areas with a lot of different stories, and they all need that one. They still need that product, the Bible. They still need to have the music or the products that we offer, even though they're coming from a variety of backgrounds.
I know we run the business, try to run it as a small company, family feel, but at the same point in time, we're a Christian company. And if you ask me to define that, that's a little bit hard to, well, what does a Christian company look like? And I might have a hard time defining it, but when you're here, I think you feel that, you know, people are being treated right and treated fairly and treated in a positive way. I think as well we have a team here that is really, it's a bit of a homegrown team. We have a huge bias to promote from within, and so my executive team is just absolutely phenomenal. I don't know the exact average length of service, but they all been here like longer than 20 years. And I don't think that ends up being a stale type situation, but it ends up being a situation of a group that knows our business really well and just gives really, really, really good advice. We've been voted 8 times winner of a top 100 employers by the Boston Globe. And, you know, the very first year that it happened, it was one of our employees that nominated us for that. And it was kind of a very humbling experience to even receive that award. I think it's one of the things that we try to run our business as a family company, and although we're over 500 employees now, it's something where we still try to run it the same way we did it when we were out of Mom and Dad's house, as a small family business. Try to know our staff, try to treat folks well.
My name's Kathy. I am a retired math teacher. I have 3 children, 3 grown children and 3 grandchildren. I'm in customer service. I take orders, and I help people with orders that think something might be missing, things like that. So my favorite part is taking orders from elderly folks who don't have computers, and they are so appreciative when you spend a few extra moments helping them find what they're looking for. A lot of them look for fiction, and they are very excited about it, and they're just so thankful, and so it's great. That and the folks that order Bibles and Jesus Calling for outreach, and they are just such dedicated folks.
My name's Joe. I'm in my 33rd year here at CBD, so I came right out of high school when I was 18 years old. I handle all the transportation. Anything coming in or going out has my fingers on it. So trucks, small packages, international, containers, all that kind of stuff. So if you think of trucking or shipping, that's me. It's funny because back then it was a super small company, maybe 30 people, and I was interviewed by the owner. And I started right in the warehouse. So I worked in the warehouse, and when I was in high school, I was taking accounting classes. So there was a job opening in accounting, and it was getting ready for their audit. So I interviewed for it, and I got it, but only part-time. So it was like I worked in the warehouse in the morning and went up to accounting in the afternoon. So, but then I was in a really bad car accident. So I was laid up for well over a year. I broke the right side of my body, and I had to learn how to walk again, how to do everything again. I have multiple operations on my hip, my legs. I got bone from other part of my body into my legs, and so it's kind of like a miracle that I'm actually here. I woke up 2 weeks later in full traction and didn't know what happened, and I was freaking out. But my family was there every day, every night, and my friend, well, some of the friends, like I said, you kind of get to know who your real friends are. And a lot of people here at CBD would come and bring you lunch. People didn't know, and that was the biggest thing when I would come here and I have crutches, and people would be like, "You're Joe, I prayed for you every day," or "My mom prays for you all the time." People you don't even know are praying for you, and that was a lot. I took a step back and was like, wow. And when I heard stories from the nurses in the hospital, and they're like, "You laid for days in broken bones because they thought you were gonna die, so they weren't gonna do anything." And to pull through and to find out all these people behind you never knew, and prayer goes a long way, and it really kind of was like made me stop in my tracks and kind of was like, wow, I don't need to be doing all this crazy stuff, you know.
So I think we have various stories as far as how people have been affected by our ministry here. I think one of them that is perhaps some of the neatest is some of our missions that we get involved in. I think it's something where, for me growing up in a pastor's home, I got a very strong commitment to missions from a very early age, which is extended into our company culture as well. It's something that we don't talk necessarily a lot about or try to build ourselves up about. It's not something that, when we do things, we're not looking for the notoriety of what we've done, but more the impact of what we do. That's what's important to us. And so I think for us, some of that ministry the main part of our ministry is really geared overseas, and in particular to develop pastors. And it's what I call, we want contribute to missions in areas that will have an exponential effect. And what I mean by that is we really want to affect pastors, which then can have a exponential effect on a lot more people. Where if I can really help a single pastor, whether it's be better educated or develop a pastor in some way, shape, or form, that's what's going to really have an effect on the world.
My name is Rick Brown. I've been at CBD, I'm now in my 34th year. I've had many jobs here. Started packing books in the warehouse as a college student and as a part-time job. And like others have said, I just thought it was going to be a part-time job, but it turned into a career. But one of the ways I've seen a uniqueness about CBD is we play a bit of the role of Switzerland. We have something for all the different strains of the church, all the different streams of the Christian tradition. And so I myself am Anglican, and so we have prayer books for the Anglicans. You know, we serve the Baptist church, we serve the Pentecostal church, we serve any number of the Orthodox church.
My name is Ralph Massillon. I'm a buyer here at Christian Book Distributors. We carry a wide range, a wide assortment of products that are useful to Christians, that are useful to believers, that are useful to the church. And we try to do so in a way that we make the books affordable. We make resources affordable to folks. And so it equips, it enables, it empowers people for ministry.
Ray and the staff at CBD have a heart for their customers. They have an opportunity to interact with people daily and give them resources that encourage and uplift them. One of those resources is Jesus Calling. They talk a little bit about how Jesus Calling has impacted their own lives and the lives of their customers.
So Jesus Calling coming out in 2004 was just, it was very timely for me in many, many ways, in that up until 2004, our company was run by my brother and myself, and in 2004 my brother left the company and it was just me. And then we were just blown away by how its sales grew right off the bat, but then to see it continue to grow and grow and grow, and then just keep selling year after year after year has been absolutely amazing. And I think it points to the fact that selling of books in the Christian industry is a little bit different than many other spots, and it's because Christians give books to people that they think need them. And the gifting of books that's just a huge aspect of it. And I think it's one of the reasons why Jesus Calling has sold so many, many, many copies.
Jesus Calling is a wonderful, wonderful devotional, and I highly recommend it to everybody. I usually put that in almost every order. I've had people call and say, gee, I have a friend who's going through this problem, and you know, I was looking for some kind of a devotional. Bam, Jesus Calling, perfect. And they buy it and they love it. And a lot of times they call back and they buy more. You know, it has an impact. It has an impact on many, many lives.
I first heard about Jesus Calling through my mom. She gave me a copy when I turned 13. She gave me the small copy, the hard book copy, and challenged me to start reading it every day, either before schooling or after at night before bedtime. So that was many, many moons ago. And then I like to say that I graduated to the large print deluxe edition where the scripture's written out at the bottom. And that hugely impacted me when I think I started working here and hearing other people's testimonies about how the book impacted them, how Jesus Calling impacted them. My favorite is when I get a phone call from a customer and you begin to say, thanks for calling, this is Alicia, how can I help you? And the first thing out of their mouth is, I'd like to order Jesus Calling. And it's so fun because after you get through the process of their name and information, you immediately, that's followed up with a story. And it's so fun to hear because my favorite is this one woman who said, young lady, I love this book. And she's like, and I just want to bless others with it. And she ordered like 5 copies because she was like, this is an amazing book. You need it. You have to have it. And I was like, I've got one right here. I love it too. But that's always just so fun, is right off the bat when they're like, yep, get me Jesus Calling right now.
I take phone orders and, you know, help out with any customer service issues. That's one of the best parts of my job, is taking the phone orders, talking to people. There was a woman who was called in. She was just in tears and she was just crying her eyes out, and I asked her what was wrong, and she said she needed help. And I said, you know, asked her to tell me, and she said she was addicted to drugs. She was trying to get off, and she just really wanted to talk to somebody. And I said, well, we really don't do a prayer ministry here, but I have no problem praying with you over the phone. And so I prayed with her, and she said, do you have anything that will help me? And I said, actually, I read a devotional every day called Jesus Calling, and you know, just read her a couple of passages, and she said, wow, it sounds like God's talking right to me. I said, that's why I love that devotional, because it sounds like he's talking right to you. And she ended up accepting Jesus in her heart that day. So it's just this, and I remember walking into my manager's office saying, if I didn't need the money so bad, I would do this for free, because it's just, I'm gonna start crying. I'm not gonna start crying, but yeah, it's an amazing job.
I was teaching full-time, and a lot of stress, a lot of drama at work, and ended up being forced to retire because of some trauma and the effect it had on my life. A good friend of mine gave me a copy, and so about 4 years ago that fall, it did the same for me as I was just explaining. It gave me a pathway back into the Word. And I worked 2 jobs and had a mom with Alzheimer's, and lots of things were going on. So I crashed, and then I had lots of time. So I spent the morning reading the daily devotion, reading the scriptures and the surrounding scriptures. And because, again, it was from Jesus' perspective talking to me, very closely tied to the scriptures. That impresses me a lot, that it put me back on my feet faith-wise. There are many passages in daily devotion that have really spoken to me. I chose one from July 15th. Do not worry about tomorrow. This is not a suggestion, but a command. I divided time into days and nights so that you would have manageable portions of life to handle. My grace is sufficient for you, but its sufficiency is only one day at a time. When you worry about the future, you heap day upon day of troubles onto your flimsy frame. You stagger under this heavy load which I never intended you to carry. Throw off this oppressive burden with one quick thrust of trust. Anxious thoughts meander about and crisscross in your brain, but trusting me brings you directly into my presence. As you thus affirm your faith, shackles of worry fall off instantly. Enjoy my presence continually by trusting me at all times. And the scripture references are, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Matthew 6:34. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. And that's from 2 Corinthians 12:9. And finally from Psalm 62:8, trust in him at all times, you people. Pour out your heart before him. The phrase that first spoke to me was, do not worry about tomorrow, and I knew right away what scripture it was from, but that it's not a suggestion, but a command. He doesn't say if you feel like it, but Jesus is saying to us, don't worry about tomorrow. I've got it. Worry about today. It's all I designed you to be able to hold. And that was really powerful in the midst of a multitude of struggles.
There are more people that continue to need what's the content of the Jesus Calling book. And that book tends to be given as a gift to many people and really touches people in a way that a big theological book can't. It's a book that just hits the heart. I had a Christian CEO that at one point in time challenged me. He says, you know, how much time do you make in your day for, prayer and reading the Bible? And it's like sometimes, as a CEO, it's like, okay, how much, it's trying to fit it into your time. And he said, well, Ray, you drive to work, right? And he says, that's a great time that you can talk to God, because just turn the radio off and that's a great time. And then the other conviction he said was, do you read the Wall Street Journal every morning? And I'm like, yeah. Well, do you read your Bible before it? And now it's something where I can't open a Wall Street Journal unless I've read the Bible first, because it's like, well, what's more important?
Ray and the staff at CBD are celebrating 40 years of business, ministry, and eternal impact. Be sure to check out all the products they have, including this special gift pack that includes the new Jesus Calling for Christmas devotional for only $19.99 for a limited time. Visit christianbook.com to find out more. Thank you for watching Jesus Calling Stories of Faith. Be sure to join us every first and third Sunday of each month for a new Jesus Calling Story of Faith, debuting live on the Jesus Calling Facebook page. You can also find our stories on the Jesus Calling YouTube channel and on Instagram's IGTV through the Jesus Calling Instagram page. Be sure to subscribe to the Jesus Calling YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/JesusCallingBook so you can be notified when a new story of faith is available.